Chris Downey thought he had it all, a thriving career as an architect and a fresh start at a prestigious design firm. Then just weeks into the job, his vision started to blur. Doctors found a tumor that was wrapped around his optic nerve, which required urgent surgery. And while there was hope at first, 5 days after surgery, everything went dark in Chris's world. He became permanently blind. At first, he tried to keep going, but he couldn't read blueprints. He couldn't use design software. It looked like the end of his career and his passion. But in what could have been the end, Chris discovered something remarkable. With the help of a blind computer scientist, he learned to see architecture through touch. His fingers became his eyes, guiding him through designs with a unique perspective. Even though he had lost his sight, he had gained the ability to see drawings the way we experience space in a unique way through his touch. And he can now perceive those spaces from a different viewpoint and envision new and creative possibilities for the use of those spaces. In losing his sight, he actually gained new vision. What once felt like a limitation became a strength for him, not just for him, but for all of those around him in his field. And I think Chris's story holds up a mirror for all of us. We often ignore our God-given limitations and we try and press forward in the midst of them, trying to prove our worth by doing more, pushing harder, performing better, instead of embracing the God-given limitations God has given us so that we can use the capacity He's given us to process things in a way that gives us the ability to serve Him in a deeper way, to see things in a different way, to serve Him and those around us in a new and fresh way from a God's eye view. On this episode of One Day Closer, we're talking with Adam Crain, a man who knows firsthand what it's like to try and push beyond his own limits, but then also what it looks like to find freedom that comes from learning to embrace his God-given capacity. Let's dive in. We're here today with Adam Crain, the founder and executive director of Shepherding Care. Adam, it's so awesome to have you on the show and to be able to hear your heart and then about a ministry that is going to, I think, help a lot of ministry leaders. So thanks so much for being here.
Well, Brennen, thank you so much for having me today. I'm very excited about talking to your viewers and to be able to talk to you today about it.
That's awesome. And so as we start, I want our viewers to get to know you a little better. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, your ministry.
Yeah, I've been in ministry for over 2 decades now, which is wonderful. It didn't totally anticipate that in the very beginning, but here I am. And I've been married for over 15 years now, just celebrated our 15th wedding anniversary back here in July.
Right. Yeah.
And then I have 3 little children. They're 11, 10, and 9 years old.
11, 10, and 9.
11, 10, and 9. So
That's
wonderful.
awesome. Yeah, keep you busy.
Yeah, very busy and stuff, very active and stuff. So it's been great to discover how they are just growing and developing into young human beings.
Yeah. And you said you didn't necessarily expect 2 decades in ministry, and now God's stretching that out even more and bringing you to a new place. But what, as you were in ministry, what has drawn your heart to the least of these and trying to care for those who are weary?
Yeah, it's been several different things that have happened in my life. One is just I grew up watching my grandfather, who was a pastor, and then an uncle who was a pastor as well, and then watching how my mom honestly served and did things in ministry-wise. I didn't know what she had done until I was at her funeral.
Okay, wow.
And just people stood up and gave testimony about the people of being ministered to by her. And so it was really wonderful. And so I was able to see behind the scenes, grow up in that type of environment of how 3 different significant people in my life ministered to the least of these. And then I was also captured by the heart of Jesus and how He was ministering to the least of these. And how not just the least of these, but He helped to see them. And I always just really was fascinated by how Jesus saw them beyond what they were going through and saw them as the human beings that they were and redeeming them by what He had done on the cross.
Isn't that such a powerful thing? And to think I remember preaching on a passage where it was those words, Jesus saw her. And like, man, the outcast, the one who's not seen by anybody, but the God of the universe in flesh.
Absolutely.
And the power that comes just in being seen.
Absolutely.
You know, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved when, as you said, that Jesus saw her. I've always been fascinated. What does it look like to look into the eyes of Jesus, right? And so there's so many stories about people just disregarded, pushed to the side. But as Jesus was walking through the crowds, he saw people, he talked to them, he knew them. And one of my favorite stories is Zacchaeus.
Yeah.
Zacchaeus was just pushed to the side, and yet he came and he saw Zacchaeus.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me about, so when we were talking, getting ready for the interview, you had shared about going through a season of gospel boredom and burnout. Yep. So tell me about how that came about.
Yeah, early in my ministry time, in my 20s, I labeled that as a season of gospel boredom because I loved being youth pastor. I loved what I was doing. And then there was also another ministry they wanted me to do as well as a church. And I was very happy to do it. But being young, I wanted to prove myself. Yeah. And when you want to prove yourself, you put a lot of self-worth into what you're doing at the time. Yeah. And so I just extended myself beyond my limits. I was going beyond the hours I was supposed to go and pushing 60, 70, 80 hours of ministry time, never taking a day off.
Because you're doing God's work, right?
I was just doing God's work, right? And so I thought, right? Yeah. And so I didn't want to delegate to people. I didn't want to trust other people. I wanted to prove that I had the ability to do these things. And I wanted people to look at me and go, look how impressive he is. He's going to be the next person, next leader, next ministry, next pastor, who's going to be the up-and-coming person. But the key word was, it was all about me. Yeah. And I really wanted to look back, I can evaluate and see that I wanted like some adoration from people based on my own abilities. Yeah. And it didn't go so well. And so in my early years of ministry, I burned out, but I didn't know what it was at the time. Yeah. And so I just thought that this was what ministry was. Yeah. You worked really hard. You know you're going to grow tired when you go into ministry. But I went through that for several years. Yeah. And I lived like that. And it wasn't just a season, it became a lifestyle for me. Yeah. And so through that, I heard the gospel because I knew I believed what Jesus Christ had done. But it was just the ABCs. Yeah. And so I wasn't realizing and living out of the power of the gospel. Yeah. It was really out of the power of Adam and the adoration and what I could achieve on my own. And it just became futile after a while. I lacked the joy in life. Yeah. I went into the fog that people who experienced burnout. I wasn't sleeping well. Yeah. And it was a dramatic number of different things that just happened for several years. Yeah,
I can relate totally to that. Very similar. Yep. My story, all of a sudden I look back and I'm overseeing 5 different areas and just, you go into that fog and just, you know, it's a heart-wrenching reality when you recognize how much you were doing for yourself in the name of Jesus.
It's a very humbling experience that like you don't realize in moments. Yeah. It just takes a while to actually get there. And because if you're trying to build something for the Lord, he's very specific. He says, I would build my church. Yeah. But if you don't do it his way, then you end up building your own kingdom and your own thing. And that only lasts for a very short time, not for the generations that you really want it to last. Yeah. Well,
we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about some of that, the freedom that we can have from burnout. You're watching One Day Closer. We'll be right back to talk more about what it looks like to embrace our God-given capacity.
Watch Lighthouse TV wherever you go. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. You can view our in-house studio productions on demand, or watch what's on the station right now with our 24/7 live stream. Search Lighthouse TV online on your streaming device, or go to our website for more information. Visit lighthousetv.org to stay connected. There you can find out what's currently on the air and coming up. How to watch in your area on cable, satellite, broadcast, or streaming devices. Watch past programs or our live stream. Follow us on social media and learn more about the station, our hosts, and our programming. Lighthouse TV, positively different.
Welcome back to One Day Closer. We're here with Adam Crain, founder and executive director of Shepherding Care, talking about embracing our God-given capacity. So, Adam, we got to hear some of your story and what it looks like to live out of our own strength. And now we're going to move more into what does it look like to live out of the strength that Christ gives us in ministry particularly. So tell me a little bit about what did your understanding of capacity look like before burnout, and then what has God taught you through the burnout?
When in the very beginning, when I started off in pastoral ministry, in leadership of people, I thought capacity, that the Lord was just going to increase my capacity, right? Just praying the Lord will increase my capacity. And as I look back, I was like, I just kept trying to add more time to the day. But that wasn't happening. The Lord still only gives us 24 hours to the day. He never gave me the 25th hour, because I knew if He gave me the 25th, I'd still use it for my own stuff, right? And so learning to live within your capacity is not a sign of weakness, which I thought in the very beginning, right? And I wanted the Lord to just increase my leadership ability and would never accept the no or the wait or the time. It's going to take time to get to that point. I wanted it here and I wanted it now. And so I was willing just to grab it and to take it. So in essence, there was a lot of pride that was underneath, a lot of self-reliance. That give me enough time, I'm going to figure it out, right? And so what if the Lord doesn't reveal all those things to you, or if He just tells you no? So I didn't want to rely upon the Lord. So I just was believing I didn't have a limited capacity. And so I was really going to this godlike status. That I had all this energy, I had all this time, I had all this knowledge. And I wouldn't say that I actually knew that I was functioning that way until you take a step back and going, how did I get to where I was going? And so I ended up in just a place of burnout and lacked this place of joy. You heard about joy, the joy of the Lord, and I was like, that's such a foreign concept, that's abstract. Maybe I'll get there when I'm dead. So that was not a truth in Scripture. That was true for me. And so, but that's not true. Right? And so it is true to have joy of the Lord. But that meant I had to take a deep evaluation about what I was doing and how I was functioning. Even as a pastor, I had to function differently by how I was serving the Lord.
And in burnout sucks the joy. It's like a joy vacuum, right? Right? When you're and when you're ministering to others, it does. It steals the joy of being a vessel of the Lord, not trying to be Jesus, right? Am I trying to be Jesus, or am I just trying to be His vessel? I feel like you're telling my story, so this is great. And so particularly, Adam, God's given you a heart to work with ministry leaders, even though we all experience capacity and need to embrace that. But tell me about Shepherding Care and how you want to use that in the lives of leaders.
So when I was going through my burnout, during that time, this was almost 20 years ago, my first time through burnout. Unfortunately, I've gone through burnout a second time. And I started looking, going, where's the place for pastors to go and talk to? And at that time, there wasn't really many other places. And so the Lord put this on my heart to go, there needs to be a place for pastors, not just experiencing burnout, but other significant things, a place that they can find a place of safety to come and talk about some of the worries that they're going through, some of the struggles that they're going through. And so the Lord placed on my heart to develop a ministry called Shepherding Care, which is just a reminder that we need to be cared for by the good shepherd as pastors before we care for our people. And I really believe in the local church. That is the hope of the world, because that's the plan that Jesus said, I'm going to build my kingdom. He does it through the local church, and He puts pastors as these under-shepherds. And if an under-shepherd is not cared for, and he starts retreating, and sometimes being a pastor, they become some of the loneliest people in the church because they're constantly giving and constantly caring and constantly doing multiple different things, and so they get forgotten about. And that's a hard reality that not all of us really want to think about.
Yes.
And so I want to be able to come and help to be able to shepherd the shepherd. But not just me. That's not my goal, is for people to become dependent upon me long term. I want to help pastors and even the leadership of the church to help hear the voice of the Good Shepherd again.
Yeah.
Right? And to equip the leadership to how to care for the pastor. We have some phenomenal pastors who quit ministry because they're just burned out. There's a rate of 50% of pastors quit in the first 5 years, 80% in the first 10 years.
Yeah.
And I just look at that and going like, my heart breaks.
Yeah.
Because the impact not just on that pastor, but then on his wife, if he's married, or his children, the family, the ripple effect that can have onto the congregation.
Yes. Yeah.
And it continues to go on that if we're not taking care of our pastors and there's pastors turnover constantly, and I've been through those years, and it's hard on the congregation, it's hard on everybody when you're making transitions, sometimes for good, sometimes not for good. And so this ministry is to come behind the scenes, work with people. Maybe the church doesn't even know I exist or the ministry exists, right? But they can feel the effect of the ministry as we're caring for the pastor.
Yeah, that's really powerful, and I think just it can be hard. And you know, as pastor for almost a decade, it can be hard, I think, for those in the congregation to recognize that the pastor also has limitations, as he has to recognize it, right? And so in a season of hurt, I've known of pastors who then there's an offense because he didn't show up at this thing, and so he's hurting, and then he's also attacked, and it's just hard.
Right. Yeah, as a pastor, right, you come into ministry, the desire to serve the Lord and to serve your people. And then when you go through a hurt, right, then you're wondering, who's going to care for me? And not that you want to be selfish, but sometimes as pastor, you just set yourself aside. And so because that's what you're called, right? You were called to serve your people. But then as you get to one hurt, you may end up with another hurt, and then another hurt, and then another hurt. And it builds up. And we don't think it's going to have an effect on us until we come to a place of going, why am I so withdrawn? You know, I hear of pastors who, after a sermon, they just head straight to the office. Because they don't want to engage with people, right? You have pastors who are using substances to ease the pain, ease the stress. And that's not a good thing either, right, as a pastor. But who do they talk to? And so that's where I really want to help to equip the church to become a safer place for the pastor to have a place to come talk to. That's great. And I don't know if this is part of what you do, but man, just the value that could add for younger pastors. I know I had a great seminary education. I thought they did an excellent job. I had an entire course on preventing ministry failure. But when you take 31 courses over a short period of time, you know, it gets lost a little bit until you're in the midst of it and you're like, oh, that's all that stuff. If I'd had somebody walking with me, if the biblical model, that we're not just, pastors aren't just sent out to be the sole leaders, but they're part of the family, who also need to be shepherded and cared for. Absolutely,
Wow. So what are some of the ways, you know, caring for others is naturally wearying? What are some of the ways that you would help a congregation or a pastor or a ministry leader to be able to refuel in the midst of caring for others?
So multiple different ways that we can do this, right? One is just by listening to the pastor and hearing his story. Sometimes hearing the stories of pain that they are going through, and acknowledging those that what they're going through is actually really hard. It is tough. That if in acknowledging those and hearing them, and so which is a very powerful thing to do, right? So there's counseling that can happen, but then also there's retreats that the pastor needs the retreat to be able to pull away from ministry for a couple days, or maybe even an extended period of time as well, right? And so then it's not just for the pastor, but then thinking about how it impacts his wife, right? Is there marriage counseling that needs to happen as well? Because he's been going at it, and sometimes pastors will go this way, not just in a few months, but for a few years. And so who does that impact? His wife.
Yeah.
Well, who does his wife talk to when she's mad at the pastor?
Yeah.
Because that never happens, that a pastor's wife, right?
Never.
But then so it can be very isolating for the wife right, as well. And so working alongside and being very holistic with it, not just talking about the spiritual, but then also talking about the physical side as well, right?
Yes.
Like, because we're embodied souls. And as embodied souls, we need to pay attention to when God says, you're tired.
Yeah.
You're feeling a season of discouragement. If you continue to push through, you're no longer going to be able to give the way that I've called you to give, right? And so helping people to evaluate when have they gone past their limits or reaching the limit before we get there, right? That is a sign of maturity.
Yeah.
I used to think that a sign of maturity was just being worn out and going into the next thing and be able to give to the next time and give to the next line, and thought that was pastoral work. But that's not.
No.
Spiritual maturity is going through situations and seeing, going, this is going to be exhausting. This is going to be tiring. By the end of today, I will probably be discouraged and I will probably be exhausted. That's okay. Because at the end of today, I'm going to go spend time with the Good Shepherd. I'm going to go spend time with Christ. And you see that rhythm and pattern that Christ had, where at the end of a ministry day, he went and spent time with his Father. And so we're ministering to weary pastors. I see that it's not a sin to be tired.
Right.
Right? It's not a sin to go, I'm weary today. Because Christ was weary. He was tired. When he felt power go out from him. Now, we don't have the same power that Christ had by any means. But if Christ was tired at the day of ministry, how much more will us, as the under-shepherds, be tired as well? But we just don't think that way. We don't acknowledge those things. And so whether you like to see it or not, sometimes we can actually become, as pastors, very prideful. And think that I am helping to build this ministry. This church won't exist without me. I have to continue to go. I have to show up. I have to do these things. Without me being present, people aren't going to grow. And those are all just lies that we believe as pastors.
They're lies, and they're opposite of what the scriptures teach. Right? It's a product of our culture, right? Because what are we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be equipping the saints for the works of service, not assuming that we are the ones who are able to do it the best, therefore. And that comes back to pride. We would never, it's not acknowledged that way, right? We don't see it that way. But man, I had the same struggles you did, as far as I thought my prayers were for a lack of limitations, not embracing the limitations God had given me. Oh man, what do you say, Adam, to the ministry leader right now who's discouraged? He's ready to say, I don't think I can do this. 40% of, I think, ministry leaders at this point are thinking about leaving the ministry, if I understand Barna's research. So what do you say to that ministry leader right now who's in that space?
When they're not the only one, right? I haven't just been there. I lived in it for far too long. And to say that there is hope, that not just through talking to me, right? But truly that Jesus Christ does love you. That not just loves you, he delights over you. And he pursues you. And that there is a different way to actually minister out of a place of hope in Christ. Not just in a hope you're going to get a break. Right? And so if you're able to talk to a close friend, go talk to the close friend. You're able to take a small little break, go take a small break. Even if it's just a half hour, that it makes a significant time of going, I'm just not going to zone out on some social media. I'm not going to just zone out and try to do something else. You're going to actually take a physical break in the middle of your day and pause and spend time with the Lord. And it's not to produce anything. It's just to receive. And I think sometimes we forget Zephaniah 3:17, where the Lord actually stands over us and he delights over us.
That's great.
We forget that because we're constantly going, I have to serve. I have to prepare for this next sermon. I have to prepare for the next lesson. I have to prepare for the next funeral. I have to prepare for the next counseling time. I have to prepare for all these. I have to constantly give. But if we don't receive from the Lord, then we actually have nothing to give. And so the only reason we love people is because we were first loved.
Yeah.
And so we have to be filled up. And so that only way that I've discovered is to take pauses, physical pauses, in order to receive, to give.
That's great. Adam, this has been awesome. Our time's up, but people can reach you through shepherdingcare.org.
Yeah, shepherdingcare.org.
And you're a support raising ministry, so if someone sees what you're doing and wants to support it, they can do that.
Absolutely.
And they
Please
can
do.
share this with their pastor or whoever needs it. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. We'll be right back to talk about how we can apply this to our lives.
You're watching Lighthouse TV, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This station will feature uplifting faith and family programming. Programs focusing on defending your faith, defending your freedom, and living as a believer in today's culture. To find out more about this station and to watch original content, go to lighthousetv.org. Lighthouse TV, positively different television. Watch Lighthouse TV wherever you go. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. You can view our in-house studio productions on demand, or watch what's on the station right now with our 24/7 live stream. Search Lighthouse TV online on your streaming device, or go to our website for more information. Visit lighthousetv.org to stay connected. There you can find out what's currently on the air and coming up, how to watch in your area on cable, satellite, broadcast, or streaming devices. Watch past programs or our live stream. Follow us on social media and learn more about the station, our hosts, and our programming. Lighthouse TV, positively different.
Here are 3 steps you can take today to begin embracing your God-given capacity. First, create a rhythm of rest. Set aside 1 block of time each week to rest. No striving, no achieving, no performing. Just rest and remember that God is building the house in your life, not you. Second, embrace your dependence. Begin each day by asking, Father, where am I operating in my own strength? Acknowledge that before Him and ask Him to give you strength in those areas. And third, name your limits and thank God for them. Your limitations are not liabilities, they're invitations to trust God's will more deeply for your life. Thank you so much for watching One Day Closer, where we're learning together how to use our one day closer to eternity to bring Jesus-infused hope and purpose to those around us.